Hello, this is your oracle for the week, and it's a doozy. By the way, if you missed me, it's good to be back. But let's get into it because I don't want to waste time. So let's start with where we're being truly challenged. Right now, if something isn't truly sustaining your spirit, if it's not sustaining your soul, if it's not growing you as a person, it's not going to make it. So even though this is the reading for this week, I would even say it's the reading for all of 2022. It would be something so big that it's a cycle breaker. It's so big that it no longer stands for how things were or how things were going. So what you want to keep in mind is your spirit is more important than whatever the noise is around you. If the noise around you isn't supporting you, then no. I want you to try and imagine your life for 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years not being supported at a spiritual place. Unseen, unheard, unrealized. Does that work for you? Because the answer is no. The answer is literally no, right? So you want to remember that as you're breaking cycles, as you're having breakdowns, which are guaranteed. You're going to have breakdowns right now. You're going to have burnout. You're going to be forced to look at the paradigm that doesn't work anymore. You're going to be forced to look at poor leadership. Take that in and recognize if it doesn't work for you now or 5 years from now, is it going to work for you 15 years from now? I don't think so. So that is probably the hardest part, but it's also glorious. And I do want you to understand it is the strike of lightning. It is pure potential. It is raw energy coming in to shake your soul down to its core, to move you beyond and past anything that denies you the dignity of your own spiritual core. Everybody's spiritual core is a unique journey. Trying to mold humanity into one form or another. So let's just use as an example, dogmatic religion. It doesn't allow you to explore your spiritual experience with God or goddess or any of it. It tells you what to think, what to do, and how to behave. It doesn't develop you, grow you, and allow you to have a dialogue with something divine. It's not going to work. You need that dialogue. So even if you are of a dogmatic background, right? Whether it's Christianity or what have you, no harm, no foul to anybody who happens to be Christian. You need to find your path, your dialogue. And the only way to get there is to listen to where you're not being heard inside of yourself. That area, that ache, that pain, that internal self. And that's a very hard thing to do. So I suggest strongly that you journal. And you journal like you really mean it. Now, how this translates into the physical realm is to take high ground, okay? Taking high ground means don't lower yourself to having unnecessary fights or arguments, not even with me, because I won't even have an argument with you, okay? I won't. I'll just find ways to try and support you, trying to give you assistance. That's my way of taking high ground. I've actually made a conscious decision not to get involved with the constant scuffle because, as you probably noticed, it's everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what form of media or whether you're out even grocery shopping. There's a scuffle taking place where people are egoically wanting to be right about everything. And again, they can't be specifically right about you if they don't know you, okay? You're the only one who knows you. I'm the only one who truly knows me at the core, right? And that's one of the reasons why I said I personally have decided that who I want to be in a world where everybody is caught in slaps and fights, like we just saw recently at the Oscars. Who do I want to be is I want to take higher ground. I want to be able to speak about who I am, what I need, where I'm heading, right? I want to stand my ground in what I believe in and how I believe I should be treated. And I also want to assist other people as best I can so that as they find their path and their high ground and they choose to turn against the frenemies that happen to be around them, that they maybe do it with more dignity, more self-respect, and less constant warring. We can argue, we can fight, we can try and one-up each other, and all it ever leads to is more and more of a concrete energy. where both people are just bashing their horns. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. And this can go on forever and ever. Even when we talk about what happened at the Oscars, people wanting sides taken. Oh, I'm going to take Will's side because he was defending his wife, right? I'm going to take Chris Rock's side because he's just a comedian and it's supposed to be, in humor, even though it was not funny, or what have you. It's the whole scenario was sad. It was truly sad. It was sad because the woman in question, right, Jada, she shouldn't be a brunt of anybody's joke. I don't care who you are. You should leave her be, let her have a beautiful evening at the Oscars. And in regard to both Will and Chris, I mean, both of them did not work that out in an elegant way. But I also know that there was probably a great deal of shock. Okay, so when people experience shock, like how everybody said that he was laughing at first before he got up and slapped Chris and then sat back down again saying, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. He was probably in way too much shock to be in a reasonable state of mind, especially since the laughter was probably him thinking, haha, fun joke about my wife. Wait a second, what did you say? That moment where you actually click in and you make all the connections happen at the speed of light and you realize it's not okay. I'm not going to say how he should be because he was who he was. That's not something he can take back. He already did it. But I'm speaking to you now. And I'm asking for you guys out there, if you're in similar situations where you're feeling angry, offended, upset, try and find a way to have a reasonable conversation. Now, I'm going to roll back to my own personal life. A couple months back, I went to the grocery store, and when I came back out, a woman had parked her car to the side of my driver's door, and the space between her door and my door was literally this. And I was actually in shock that she hadn't hit my car and she hadn't hit my side mirror because she was driving a big old truck and I was in an SUV and there was no space. And so I went back in and I asked them to get on the speaker system and say, hey, somebody's blocked a person in. She was so ready for me to want to fight her. And she was so ready for me to, I guess, pull out the phone and, do the whole routine where people shame each other publicly, that she was beside herself. So she came out and she was already in hysterics. She was hyperventilating. She was crying. She was barely making any sense. And she's like directly confronting at the same time as freaking out and saying, my father just died yesterday. And I just don't know I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, it's okay. We're okay here. I just needed to get into my car. We're fine here. And it took her a good deal of time to realize that she wasn't under attack. She was waiting for a really vicious attack from me. Instead, I offered a hug. I said, are you okay? Is there anything else I can do? And she moved her car and she was still crying and in hysterics. And then she went in the store. So we've lost sight of what is the person going through. You don't know the story of what people are going through if they're acting insane. And obviously she had just lost her father. And she was utilizing, obviously, her horror and her tears to try and protect herself. And I wasn't going to sit there going, oh, look at you crying, using your tears. And I'm like, no, compassion, people. Take the high ground, own who you are. The world is really rough right now, but find ways to resolve difficult situations from a place that if you looked back, you would be proud of yourself. Because it's just going to keep happening until everybody learns that everybody is in some form or another of burnout or PTSD. The last 2 years is taking it out of everyone, right? Which brings me to, where are we with each other in our private lives? It's time to bond deeper with friends. There's been a lot of fracturing, a lot of fraying, a lot of disconnection, and a lot of that was out of necessity. There was arguments about whether or not to mask, whether or not to not mask, and so on and so forth. And so friends didn't know how to handle each other if they had differing opinions on things. This is a good time to reunite kindly and harmoniously as best as you can with friends. And if you didn't have any fallings out, then now is a good time to start making plans again and coming back to each other. For all we know, this could last for years and years, and it could go through many, many different cycles. And that should not be a reason to not have intimate connection with the people you care for. If you only had 1 week left or 1 month left or 1 year left, and suddenly this thing goes completely crazy out of nowhere and it becomes so mutated that the whole human race gets wiped out. I'm being really dramatic on purpose, okay? then not having seen the people you loved is not going to make you feel like you did the right thing. You're going to look back and you're going to be like, I should have triple masked if I was nervous about it. I should have sat farther away to be able to have a conversation. Whatever it is that you should have done, human contact is part of what makes humanity healthy. The disconnect that has taken place over the last 2 years has caused everybody to be unhealthy. Okay? Whether they got sick or they didn't get sick, whether they caught anything, whether they didn't catch anything. Mentally, people have been very unhealthy. So you need to come back to the fold. You need to come back to each other. You need to treat each other with love and respect. It's a mouthful, I know. I'm covering a lot of ground in a very short amount of time, okay? And this is just this week's reading, okay? Which brings me to, where are we at in our heads? Where are we at in our mind? And where we're at in our mind is we've been too patient. We've been too reserved. And it's time for us to start giving birth to our dreams, okay? We're supposed to start putting our thoughts and our ideas and our energies out in the world. We're supposed to allow ourselves to be nurtured by the people we care about and to nurture the people we care about, okay? It's no more waiting till later. This is not the waiting till later thing. We've waited long enough. That's why I even got dramatic with you and gave you the scenario of it mutated and we're all going to die anyway. And it's like, what? You didn't see the people you loved? Whew, Lord, right? Which brings me to our power. Our power is the ability to hold on to what's truly precious to us without becoming overwhelmingly greedy. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because panic responses to stressful times is very possessive oriented, like things oriented, like buying clothing, buying shoes, fast fashion, whatever you want to talk about. And we're supposed to hold what's truly precious to us and then clear the closets. You know what I mean? Take care of business. If you need to refresh your life now or restart things, this is a good time to give away things to Goodwill, or a good time to give things to friends that you care about, a good time to replace things that are broken in your home, but to kind of pull back with that wildness that wants to spend money for no real reason other than using money as therapy, okay? You want to use nature as therapy, friendship as therapy, good healthy food as therapy, a waterfall as therapy, music as therapy. You want to do that, okay? Don't be spending your money in unnecessary ways. We're supposed to be breaking cycles. This is about breaking so many cycles, materialistic cycles that aren't kind to us, ourselves, or the planet. Habitual cycles where we are focused on old habits that aren't healthy for us anymore. Cycles where we are undermining our own spiritual connection to spirit. Okay? It's time to break all these cycles and come out of the cocoon and give birth to yourself. Good luck in the process and the journey. Comment below if you want to say anything at all. If you have questions, I will literally answer in a video, so it's worth asking. And if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe, hit that bell. You'll know when I'm on. I'm going to try and be more regular. It's not very easy for me because I have chronic fatigue, so that's a thing. That's why there's usually long lags of time before my next posting. So I try my very best to take care of my own health and my own spiritual stuff and break through my own cycles and patterns. So good luck with your stuff too. Mwah. Love and be well.